What do we have here? A big old turd on the lift. Alright, so E30 is finally here. Finally in the shop, along with other European turds. And we get to actually do some cool stuff and finish doing the things that I started and halfway did. So today, I'm going to continue cutting the rest of the car like it should be. So yeah, sparks are going to fly. You might ask yourself why I'm not just radiusing it, and honestly, I don't really have a great answer other than this is a lot simpler to cut and I can make it look a lot nicer without going to an extreme on having to make all sorts of metal work happen to keep it all kind of structurally sound and clean and functional and stuff. So we're just gonna cut it like this for now because I can go back and I can radius or I can do whatever. It still leaves plenty of metal up here for me to attach the body kit, and I can reinforce behind it still if I need to. I'm gonna cut down to here first just to see what I'm working with at this point, because I kind of need to add in like a flat bar bracket some way or another down here to hold the rear section of the side skirt on, I think. And to me, that seems a lot easier than other solutions. So we're just gonna start with this. Gotta clean all this up. It'll look a lot nicer, and I don't know. There's not a ton of thought process behind this other than cleanliness. You can see on the inside how there's the big opening here. I'm probably going to do an interior panel that covers this as well. And then on the outside, I'll do sheet metal probably, and then seam seal it to keep all the elements out and rocks and water and just all that from sitting inside the body. So that's the goal. This is where we're starting. Oh, perfect. Flammable towels. But due to the lack of protection equipment around here, and my only safety glasses being, well, glasses, so basically the RPM limit of this disc is a lot lower than the grinder or the cutoff wheel is capable of. So now that I got this cut out for the most part, I got to clean it up with the flap disc, but I didn't cut this down as far as I'm going to, just because I wanted to see what was back here and what I had to work with. But I know I can go down to here now, so that's safe. So now, instead of starting there, which I didn't finish just because it's where 2 layers meet, I'm probably just going to cut out this inner fender just because it's real ugly and it needs to go. So that is going to be next. So all the cuts are cleaned up, no super sharp edges. Yeah, nothing sharp. Now that I got this sorted, I may cut down to this body line right here and do that. But other than that, this end of the car is done. I may honestly just leave it for now. But this, I need to cut back at least a halfway back on this right here. I may just cut it all the way back, but I want to leave enough metal to where I can just tack it all back together instead of having to add a bunch of sheet metal in this area. This area, I'm going to have to make a plate for the inside that covers this whole mess, because this is the interior. I'm gonna have to make a piece or a plate that is flat and level across here that goes to the inside to make a mounting surface for the bracket for the body kit at the bottom and for those side skirts right there. And then on the inside of here, I will probably do some slight sheet metal tub just to keep everything from flying around and coming inside the car, because on that side where there's no interior, it shoots stuff inside the car. So, progress. This is a big thing that needed to be done because it looked like an absolute nightmare. And this looks a lot nicer and is a lot more manageable and a lot more surfaces to actually work with than before. So, on to this section. Yes, sir. So this isn't a perfect visual representation, but this is a good kind of visual aid of what I'm trying to accomplish here by cutting this the way that I am. So if you look at where the side skirt meets, this is not, the car is not level, so don't like take this too seriously. But where the car sits, or where the skirt sits, it's supposed to sit at this line all the way across the car. So what I'm trying to do or accomplish here is I want to cut this in a way where I can have a bracket that either comes from the inner part of the chassis out and has a point to put a bolt through and hold it here, along like a plate that I may run it the whole length of this section behind the door, or I can weld a plate, a thick plate with a rod that comes out and have the rod come through here like Daniel that created this kit did, assuming. I don't really know how he did his. It's kind of a really complicated way to set it up. Making these in metal makes it a lot harder to mount them than it would if they were fiberglass or carbon fiber. So these are temporary for me, at least. I don't want to run these long term, so I may, or I would like to make the mounting point in a way that I can use it for future like renditions of some skirts. But as along with the skirt, I have to be able to put a an angle bracket or something to push the rear section in front of the tire of the body kit out so that the flare itself is flush with this outside edge of the skirt. It looks a lot more aggressive if you do that. Not quite as boring, gives it some more depth and, or like, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, so what we did today is a major step in going that direction, having side skirts on the car, because it looks really goofy without them. Another future dilemma I'm gonna have is whether or not to cut this lower section of the factory bumper off or leave it. If I do cut it off, I have to do a lot more work on the passenger side because there is a battery back there and a whole tray that hangs down, which I'm not opposed to getting rid of that at all. I'd like to put the battery in the center somehow, or even in the back seat area or something. But I don't really know how to go about it because there's no floor back here. So if I cut it, it's just gonna be more sheet metal I have to add, which is fine. Not opposed to it. I'd like to get better at welding first, but that's an idea I'm gonna have to figure out and commit to at some point. But yeah, skirt, kind of mocked up. I actually just had the idea while I was sitting here staring at it for a second. I could literally cut this down and bend this flat just to kind of have a temporary way to mount that if I wanted to. That's a really ambitious kind of cheating way to do it, but I might do it just to see how it works. I don't know what I would do at the front, but I can figure something out. But yeah, this is progress. I'm gonna make a template for in here, the interior side, and send it to Send Cut Send maybe, and get it made. And I might either do metal or see how much the carbon fiber pieces are to do, since it's just flat. And if I have to bolt it in, that's fine. If I do it, I'd like it to cover the whole inside section, because I'm eventually going to do a back seat delete here that looks nice and covers the whole back seat area, which is full of junk right now. But she's come a long way. She drove in the shop all by herself, drove on the trailer and off the trailer. She runs pretty okay. I need to run through some Mega Squirt stuff, but it's a lot of progress. It's a lot of good things happening. So if I can just keep this momentum going, it'll get done a whole lot sooner. But since now most of everything is me doing it myself, it makes it a lot easier to keep that motivation instead of having to spend a crap ton of money just to make something work. The front end, I still am very undecided on. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know, because I do not know what control arms to go with, because I can't adjust that at all. If you see, the rear has a decent amount of camber. The front has absolutely none. If I take these camber plates out, or camber caster plates out, I'm gonna lose all the forward motion that the wheel did, which I needed to clear back here in this footwell section. And this is still an issue. It still hits on both sides, but I can drive it and turn it. I just can't go full lock. And I can't turn it yet with the body kit on it, which the body kit may need some adjusting, so I haven't finished doing anything up front yet. But that's probably it for this weekend. I'm not really sure what else to do. I may do the other side, but it's getting kind of late now, and the dogs need to eat, so I do too. But for now, this is going to be my stopping point probably, so now I got to clean up and then maybe back here tomorrow to finish the rest of it. But now that I'm going to see the car every day since I'm at work, a lot of things will get done a lot faster. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, whatever y'all want to do. Helps me out. Y'all get to keep up with it. So, later.